You know, I love talking about Caitlin Clark on this show, and she participated in some kind of LPGA Pro-Am, drew monster crowds. There's pictures of just like everybody trying to get an autograph with Caitlin Clark.
Outrageous criticism, media frenzy, and a string of headlines. It's safe to say that Caitlin Clark has been at the center of controversy over the past few months. In a move that caught everyone off guard, Clark struck a headline-making deal with the LPGA, calling her WNBA legacy into question and sparking debates about loyalty, fame, and ambition.
One more team photo.
Caitlin, see Monica.
Great to meet you. Looking forward to the afternoon together.
Okay, go. Come on.
Hug it out. Squeeze in close together. We'll get one right here, please.
Speaking of which, the Caitlin Clark effect is starting to take shape. After delivering what could be the best rookie season in NBA history, she made the unexpected move to female golf, where she's now being heralded as the next big thing. But how did Clark manage to conquer 2 worlds in just 8 months? And why are critics calling her success a betrayal of women's basketball? In this video, we'll break down everything from Caitlin Clark's new deal to the backlash and everything surrounding her controversial journey. But before we dive in, let's take a trip down memory lane. At the start of the year, the Caitlin Clark effect was undeniable. Even before she set foot on a WNBA court, ticket sales for every platform skyrocketed by over 90% once she declared for the draft. Her performance in the league has been nothing short of outstanding. In her rookie season with the Indiana Fever, she averaged 19 points per game, scoring at least 13 points in 29 of her 36 games this year. What's even more surprising are her record-breaking feats, becoming the first player in WNBA history to hit over 100 three-point shots and rack up 300 assists in a single season. At this point, NBA analysts were already calling her a generational talent. But Clark's influence wasn't just reflected in the numbers, it was in the stands as well. Every week, Fever games turned into must-watch events, with fans traveling from across the country to see her play. She brought an entirely new audience to the WNBA. Meanwhile, Reese wasn't just riding the wave of hype, she was making her own history, becoming the first rookie to record an all-star game, double-double, the first WNBA player to achieve back-to-back 20-rebound games, and pulling off an impressive 24 double-doubles in her rookie season. While others are still trying to catch up, Reese is reshaping the game, and Clark has done more than just elevate the league's profile. However, while Clark was drawing record crowds, boosting TV ratings, and breathing new life into women's basketball, the WNBA failed to make her the face of the league. As a result, Caitlin Clark is now taking her talents and fan base elsewhere. Enter her debut at an LPGA Pro-Am, which drew bigger crowds than some of the tour's main events. At this point, she's not just rewriting the narrative in basketball, she's also making waves in women's golf. Playing alongside world number 1 Nelly Korda at the Pelican Golf Club's Annika Pro-Am, Clark showed that her influence extends far beyond the basketball court. If anyone thought her dominance was limited to the hardwood, her impressive performance on the greens has now silenced many doubters. When Caitlin Clark stepped onto the Pelican Golf Club course, it was clear this wasn't just another golfer taking their turn. The LPGA capitalized on the moment by pairing Clark with Nelly Korda, a marketing move that spotlighted both players as generational talents. The anticipation was electric, and even the Golf Channel rearranged its programming to cover her live, something unheard of for a Pro-Am event. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark took the spotlight in Florida, drawing massive crowds, and once again, proving that her star power extends well beyond the basketball court. Alongside Korda, Clark played with tournament host Annika Sorenstam, teeing off at the crack of dawn and launching an early shot into the gallery. Fans were glued to her every move at Pelican Golf Club. The WNBA Rookie of the Year's presence drove ticket sales and boosted media attention for the event. After the round, she was swarmed for autographs, and with an endorsement deal from Gainbridge, the LPGA tournament's sponsor, and a role in a women's leadership summit, it was clear her presence was far from casual. While Clark insists that golf is her escape, her single long-range putt left fans wondering, is she just playing for fun, or is she quietly taking over yet another sport? One thing is clear, the LPGA is thriving on Caitlin Clark's star power in a way the WNBA could only dream of. The media and golf elite couldn't stop singing her praises. 8-time LPGA champion Nelly Korda, who played alongside Clark, had nothing but admiration for her after the game, praising her skills and presence on the course.
It was so amazing. She's so sweet, so nice. It was nice to kind of get to spend some time with her. We've messaged a little on Instagram beforehand, but to get to spend some time with her and to see the influence that she has on people, bringing people out here, and to see how amazing of an influence she is.
The praise didn't stop with Nelly Korda. LPGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan was equally blown away, calling Caitlin Clark's performance incredible and applauding her passion for the game. Overall, Clark's presence on the course didn't just spark excitement, it stirred up drama. Her growing star power now threatens to overshadow seasoned pros in yet another sport. Is Caitlin Clark the crossover phenom golf never knew it needed? Or is this a sign that women's sports are evolving faster than their leagues can keep up? At this point, it's clear Clark isn't slowing down anytime soon. However, not everyone is cheering for Caitlin Clark's meteoric rise. While Korda and Monahan praised her for uniting fans across sports, insiders in the WNBA are reportedly seething over her crossover success. The LPGA's full-court press to spotlight Clark has left some in the WNBA feeling left behind. Insiders claim league officials are frustrated, not only by the LPGA's success, but also because the WNBA has failed to fully capitalize on Clark's star power. Social media lit up with clips of her swings, and national basketball and golf media flocked to the event. Tournament host and golf legend Annika Sorenstam captured the moment perfectly, highlighting Clark's undeniable impact on the sport. For better or worse, Caitlin Clark is rewriting the playbook for crossover stardom and shaking up women's sports in the process. Despite questions about her commitment to golf, it was revealed she's been swinging clubs since childhood. After making her 2023 debut at the John Deere Classic alongside major champion Zach Johnson, Clark's appearance at the Pelican Golf Club proved one thing: her crossover appeal is no fluke. Meanwhile, WNBA enthusiasts are rumored to feel overshadowed by Clark's dominance on the golf course, despite her record-breaking rookie season on the basketball court. While golf fans flock to see her tee off and whispers of a potential LPGA contract swirl, WNBA fans are left asking why their league hasn't given Clark the same level of attention. Take her Rookie of the Year award, for example. Rather than a grand celebration for her groundbreaking achievements, it was handed out in a nearly empty arena with little fanfare, a baffling move for someone who has done more to elevate the league in one season than most players do in a career. As the buzz around Clark's golf ventures intensifies, the WNBA's failure to capitalize on her star power becomes increasingly obvious. The LPGA has done what the WNBA couldn't. They turned Caitlin Clark's star power into a game changer. But here's the irony. Caitlin's rise should be a win for everyone. She has brought unprecedented attention to women's sports. Yet, while the LPGA embraced the moment and ran with it, the WNBA stayed stuck in its old ways, hesitant, overly cautious, and failing to seize the bold opportunity. When a male NBA or NFL star steps into another sport, social media explodes with hype. This was the WNBA's chance to do the same, celebrate Clark, ride the wave of excitement, and prove they can champion their biggest stars. Instead, they fumbled. Now, the league finds itself at a crossroads, grappling with a familiar issue: how to balance promoting standout players like Clark while still pushing the league forward as a whole. The LPGA made its move and won. Meanwhile, the WNBA risks being left in the dust, overshadowed by a star they didn't know how to celebrate. As Clark juggles her intense off-season training while fielding interest from the rapidly growing 3-on-3 women's basketball league, her crossover into golf raises an even bigger question. Is Caitlin Clark reshaping women's sports? Or is she quietly stepping away from basketball altogether?
Caitlin Clark just did something that no athlete has done since Michael Jordan.
Remember when Michael Jordan's name was pure marketing magic, turning every product he endorsed into a must-have item? Well, a new star is taking the sports world by storm, and she's just out of college. Caitlin Clark has signed a deal so revolutionary that it's making WNBA veterans break out in a cold sweat.
But she's incredible. Congratulations to her and her family.
Yeah.
Like the crazy thing is I'm just seeing her last year when they played LSU, but she's phenomenal.
But here's the truth. Clark isn't just selling merchandise. She's packing arenas to capacity. In this video, we'll unveil Clark's game-changing deal with Michael Jordan and break down why some WNBA stars on the sidelines are frowning in frustration. Stay tuned, because by the end, we'll share Jordan's inspiring remarks and reveal the unique basketball statistic that only his royal airness and Caitlin share. Ready to dive in? Let's get started.
Where he's like Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, probably eventually Caitlin Clark, where it's like individual people make an entire country tune into their sport.
1,000%.
Like hockey was never bigger than when Wayne Gretzky was playing it, and it was ridiculous how much it grew the sport.
Tiger Woods.
Imagine a basketball star so exceptional that her gear flies off the shelves in minutes. Now, picture the talent behind it all. That's exactly what's happening with Caitlin Clark's groundbreaking partnership with Wilson Sporting Goods. This isn't just another endorsement, it's a transformative deal that's sending shockwaves through the sports arena. Wilson has appointed Clark as the first female athlete to launch her own signature basketball collection since Michael Jordan back in the 1980s. Take a moment to let that sink in. We're witnessing a level of recognition and marketability that was once exclusive to the all-time greats. And now, it's Caitlin Clark stepping into that elite league.
Making her the first athlete since Michael Jordan to get their own signature basketball from Wilson. She also becomes the first WNBA player to get her own signature basketball from Wilson.
What really sets this deal apart is how fast it took off. Caitlin Clark's limited edition basketballs hit shelves and vanished in a flash. We're talking tens of thousands of units sold out in under 40 minutes. That's the sort of buying frenzy you'd expect for a new PlayStation or exclusive sneaker launches. So, what makes these basketballs so special? Each one is a mini masterpiece commemorating Clark's phenomenal college career. Envision white and gold designs, laser etched with her most iconic highlights. There's the Free Up, a tribute to her pinpoint shooting, the Record Breaker, marking her history-making feats, and the Crowd Maestro, honoring her ability to electrify an entire arena. And if that weren't enough, she just dropped another collection in partnership with the $15 billion chain prohibit sports.
Calling all Caitlin Clark fans, 2 new limited edition basketballs are now available at select Hy-Vee stores. The designs are part of the Inspire series that Clark is doing in partnership with Wilson Sporting Goods. The tribute ball pays homage to Clark's time with the Iowa women's basketball team, and the Dreamer Ball is designed to encourage athletes to pursue their dreams. Both are available in sizes 3 and 6 at select Hy-Vee locations.
Wilson didn't choose Clark solely for her basketball prowess. They recognized a rising cultural figure. As Amanda Lamb, Wilson's global brand director, put it, Caitlin Clark is not just a record-breaking athlete, but a cultural phenomenon who's reshaping the game. Think about the gravity of that. Wilson has been supplying basketballs for the NBA for ages and took over the WNBA contract in 2020. Now they're placing a massive bet on Clark to front their women's basketball line, a clear indicator that the landscape of women's sports marketing is evolving, with Clark at its epicenter. But here's the real game changer. Clark's partnership with Wilson doesn't just elevate her own career, it's redefining the possibilities for all female athletes in the sports marketing sphere. And as we're about to discover, it's stirring up plenty of buzz in WNBA locker rooms.
And when you take into stock the fact that outside of Kevin Durant, aging superstar, LeBron James, damn near 40 years old, and Steph Curry, there's not a single NBA player more popular today than Caitlin Clark.
They say numbers don't lie, but when it comes to Caitlin Clark, the numbers aren't just talking, they're shouting from the rooftops. How is one player tripling viewership? And what does it mean for the future of women's basketball? Let's break it down. Clark's impact on the WNBA isn't just big, it's record-shattering. We're talking about a star who's not just playing the game, but changing how people watch it. Picture this, arenas packed to the rafters, TV ratings through the roof, and a buzz around women's basketball that we haven't seen, well, ever.
We knew Caitlin Clark was marketable, but she's been put over some pretty big names. In fact, some worldwide, huge, international names. 2 of them being Messi and Ronaldo.
Let's talk about Caitlin Clark's viewership stats for a moment. Her games are drawing an average of over 1 million viewers. That's not just impressive, it's 3 times the usual WNBA audience. Let that sink in. A single player is tripling the league's numbers. It's almost like she's got a magic volume knob, and she's turning women's basketball all the way up.
For Caitlin Clark, on a worldwide marketability list for athletes, to be ahead of both Messi and Ronaldo is quite impressive. I mean, she's ahead of Steph Curry. Steph Curry is behind her on the list.
But it's not just about the stats. Clark is pulling in viewers who've never watched a WNBA game in their lives. How? By playing with a flair and intensity you can't ignore. She's not simply racking up points, she's generating highlight reels that fans can't stop passing around. Don't just take my word for it, though. Listen to Mike Breen, the voice of the NBA.
She's doing rating-wise for the WNBA what Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Steph Curry have been doing for the NBA.
That's more than just high praise. It places Clark alongside the true titans of basketball. But here's the real twist. She's not only dominating on the court, she's also become a marketing force to be reckoned with. Experts now rank her as the 4th most marketable athlete across the entire sports landscape, not just in women's basketball or the WNBA, but in all of athletics. That level of influence reshapes games, leagues, and the entire framework of sports marketing. So, what's next? With Clark at the forefront, expect major changes in how the WNBA promotes itself. We're talking fresh sponsorships, increased primetime broadcasts, and a whole new wave of mainstream interest in women's basketball. Of course, not everyone is celebrating. Some of the league's seasoned players are watching this rookie phenomenon with clenched jaws and raised eyebrows. And that's where things start to get complicated.
The idea of some players being jealous, yes, that probably exists.
Okay.
To me, yeah, jealous, sure. I mean, would you be jealous of somebody that got $28 million a shoe deal or whatever the deal is before you step foot in the pros?
Picture this, a newcomer setting the league on fire, shattering 62 records and mesmerizing crowds. Sounds like a dream for the WNBA, right? Well, not everyone is applauding. As Caitlin Clark's star continues to ascend, some seasoned players are feeling the pressure, and it's not exactly pleasant. Let's get real. The WNBA has spent years battling for respect and recognition. Veteran athletes have poured in sweat, blood, and tears to establish something extraordinary. Then, along comes Clark, and it's as though she flipped the script with one simple truth. Her game is just that good.
And what a lot of people weren't willing or were a bit reluctant to appreciate was the game on this young white sister of ours. She can ball. And oh, by the way, she was a great ambassador for the game. And by the way, she came in there and looked out for everybody else. For 22 years, they couldn't get chartered flights. That sister got there and it was done in 2 weeks. That's who Caitlin Clark is.
This isn't just a few annoyed whispers. We're talking full-on tension during matchups. Certain players are coming at Clark with an intensity that goes way beyond regular competition. It's as if they're sending a direct message, you might be the rising star, but this is our territory.
They try so long to get respect for women's basketball, and then they treat it like a junior high school girl's locker room. Junior high school girl antics on the court. Instead of playing the game, they gotta be drama because they're jealous. Instead of letting their skills speak for themselves, they gotta be drama because they're jealous.
So why the friction? It's not a one-note story. On the one hand, Clark's skyrocketing fame means lucrative endorsement deals and immediate name recognition. On the other, you have long-standing WNBA pros who've been hustling for years with only a fraction of the spotlight. It's creating a noticeable rift you just can't ignore. Did you catch the latest? Ben Shapiro just took down Washington Mystics owner Sheila Johnson over her ridiculous comments about Caitlin Clark.
So one of the bizarre controversies of the last week is Caitlin Clark, who is the WNBA's only nameable star. Here, for example, is WNBA team owner Sheila Johnson. Here she is, ripping Caitlin Clark and the fan base for liking Caitlin Clark, saying it's only because Caitlin Clark is white.
In what might as well be an Olympic gold medal for bad takes, Sheila's claiming that Clark didn't deserve Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year title, basically suggesting that everyone in the WNBA should be recognized, except for Caitlin Clark.
Why couldn't they have put the whole WNBA on that cover and said the WNBA is the league of the year because of all the talent that we have? Because when you just keep singling out one player, it creates hard feelings. And so now you're starting to hear stories of racism within the WNBA, and I don't want to hear that. We have got to operate and become stronger as a league and respect everybody that's playing.
You heard that right. This is the ultimate everybody gets a trophy mentality, but cranked up to the max. Shapiro wasted no time shredding Johnson's argument, using his signature rapid-fire style to highlight just how ridiculous her position really is.
You're not putting the entire WNBA on the cover because not everybody can fit and nobody knows who any of those people are. By the way, 31% apparently of the entire Washington Mystics ticket sales this year came in 2 games. I will give you a guess as to which player was featured in those 2 games.
Exactly. Not everyone can fit inside the spotlight, and definitely not the entire WNBA. As for this talk of upliftment, let's not forget that 31% of the Washington Mystics' annual revenue has come from games featuring Caitlin Clark and her team. Are we seriously supposed to pretend Caitlin Clark isn't single-handedly bringing fresh energy to a league that's been struggling to stay relevant?
Look, I'm going to be completely honest about this. I thought what Wizards owner Sheila Johnson said about Caitlin Clark came off as racist. Sheila Johnson is the black billionaire owner of the NHL's Washington Capitals, the NBA's Washington Wizards, and the WNBA's Washington Mystics. Johnson said she did not agree with Time magazine making Caitlin Clark the first ever WNBA player to be Athlete of the Year.
Sheila's claim that Caitlin Clark's success somehow undermines the rest of the league definitely carries a whiff of something darker. It's hard to ignore how that perspective reeks of racism, whether she intended it or not.
And with putting Caitlin Clark on the cover. Johnson said the entire WNBA should have been chosen as the League of the Year and that numerous stars should have been put on the cover. She said the WNBA has a long legacy of black stars and that, and I quote, "Something clicked with the WNBA last year because of the draft. It's not just Caitlin Clark, it's Reese." As in, of course, Chicago's Angel Reese.
Seriously? Angel Reese doesn't even come close to Caitlin Clark, both in skill and popularity. So why is Sheila so eager to downplay Clark's accomplishments? It's almost like she's trying to diminish something that clearly stands out on its own.
Johnson said, and I quote, "There's so much talent out there that's unrecognized, and I don't think we can pin it on just one player. When you single out one, it creates hard feelings," end of quote. Johnson said, "What's been happening to black players on social media," and I quote, "has got to stop," in that, and I quote again, "this division of racism is going to tear us apart," end quote.
Exactly. Are we seriously going to stop celebrating a player just because others are feeling threatened or jealous? That doesn't sit right, does it? This is straight up unfair treatment. Sheila should be recognizing greatness, not trying to undermine it.
Johnson is saying to me, the majority of WNBA players are black and have always been black, that basketball belongs more to black players than to white, and that it's not healthy for the league to have a white player featured as Athlete of the Year on the cover of Time. Now, I'm pretty sure if WNBA MVP Asia Wilson had made the cover of Time as Athlete of the Year, Johnson wouldn't have had any problem with that. Just not the white girl.
Absolutely. What Sheila's implying is that we should start picking and choosing who gets praise based on the color of their skin, rather than their talent or achievements. It's absurd on so many levels, and frankly, it's a huge disservice to the game and the players who deserve recognition.
But this person put this on as a quote to this video. Sheila Johnson's worth $850 million, and she doesn't put a penny back into the neighborhood she comes from. Very interesting. She doesn't even come back to her high school to show little black girls that they can become her. My little cousins go to the same high school. They don't even know she exists. Very interesting indeed.
Did you catch that? It turns out Sheila might be guilty of the very thing she's accusing Caitlin Clark of. That's right. She supposedly doesn't do charity or encourage the black kids in her community to become billionaires like herself. Talk about hypocrisy at its finest, folks.
Well, the league has always been woke, has always had an agenda. The league and the sports media, the establishment sports media that is, and their surrogates. Always. And they pride themselves on that.
It's become pretty clear that the WNBA has a lot of politics playing out behind the scenes. Could this be what's been holding the league back all these years? It's hard not to wonder if these power struggles and biases are part of the reason the league hasn't reached the level of recognition and success it deserves.
But since Caitlin Clark stepped into the waters with the Time magazine interview, it's almost like you're gonna see more people, more comments, more demands. You're going to see it's going to be less and less about basketball, what you want to see, and it's going to be a whole lot of this stuff, because it's like she ripped off another layer of the onion, and this one is a big one. And so now people feel like they can just go all in.
Exactly. Sheila's opposition to Caitlin Clark seems rooted in the fact that, like many so-called woke figures, she's recognized that Clark isn't playing by the usual political playbook. Instead of bending to certain narratives or pushing an agenda, Clark is simply focused on earning her success through talent. And that's something that doesn't sit well with people who expect athletes to follow their scripted roles.
But this, of course, is the Mystics owner that said that Caitlin Clark should give up her Time Magazine award and give it to the entire WNBA. Of course, that has now become a running joke, and the mother of all community checks came down here and nailed her. 31% of Mystics' total home attendance for the 2024 season came from the 2 games versus Caitlin Clark and the Fever.
Newsflash, Sheila, sports thrive on competition, not on the equality of outcome. Claiming that Caitlin Clark doesn't deserve to be singled out is like saying LeBron James should share his accolades with the benchwarmers just because of team effort. That's not how greatness works. Individual brilliance deserves recognition, and Clark has earned every bit of it.
It's important that we say, you know what? You want to go all in? You want to go in, people with a lot of nonsense? Then guess what? We're going to go in too, and we're going to expose the nonsense.
Exactly. A lot of these racist attitudes flourish when there's no pushback or challenge. That's why speaking out isn't just an option, it's a responsibility. If we stay silent, we're allowing these harmful views to persist unchecked. It's crucial to stand up and call out hypocrisy when we see it.
What it is. A lot of times, like you, we're just like, we just want to let's just play basketball. But then when they start saying nonsense, like when the owner of a WNBA team, Sheila Johnson, Washington Mystics, when she says some of the stuff like she said that people are talking about today, it's like, okay, you want to play hardball? Then let's play.
Absolutely. Caitlin Clark isn't just a great player. She's a mythical juggernaut and a cultural icon. She's rewriting the rules of the game, and her numbers prove it. She's not just good, she's the best. And anyone who tries to deny that is ignoring the undeniable facts.
It's that time. Harvest.
You guys, everyone wants me to cry today. No way.
Have you ever witnessed a basketball star tear up over someone else's triumph? Well, A'ja Wilson just did. The WNBA champion was seen in tears, but not for the reasons you'd expect. It's all in response to Caitlin Clark's emotional jersey retirement announcement.
I was like in tears, y'all.
You might be asking, what's all the fuss about? Don't players have their jerseys retired all the time? Well, not like this. Caitlin Clark's retirement ceremony is already setting records before it's even happened. Meanwhile, A'ja Wilson's fans are crying foul, suggesting Iowa orchestrated this to steal the spotlight. But what spotlight? Iowa likely didn't even know when South Carolina planned Wilson's ceremony, especially since she graduated nearly a decade ago. We've got the facts, the timeline, and fan reactions that tell a different story. Let's break down why Wilson's tears are flowing and how Clark is once again changing the game for women's basketball. February 2nd, 2025. Don't forget that date, because it's about to become legendary in women's basketball. 2 players, 2 jersey retirements, but only one is stealing the spotlight like a supernova. Caitlin Clark and A'ja Wilson, both revolutionizing women's basketball in their own ways, are set to have their jerseys retired on the same day. But that's where the comparison ends. Clark's ceremony at Iowa is generating a buzz that's completely overshadowing Wilson's South Carolina event.
Iowa taking on USC and Juju Watkins, nationally televised game, I believe. February 2nd, 2-2, so it's 22. Everything about it lines up.
Let's talk numbers because they're crazy. The cheapest ticket to see Clark's jersey rise to the rafters is over $700, which is the most expensive ticket in women's basketball history. For some perspective, this price tag is even steeper than the cheapest ticket to an NBA Finals game. And if you're aiming for the best seats in the house, you'd better have a thick wallet, with tickets going for over $8,000. Meanwhile, you can catch a seat at Wilson's ceremony for just $25. No, that's not a typo. We're talking about a price difference more than 28 times higher for Clark's event.
But that is a supply and demand thing, especially in today's day and age where there's no such thing as a sellout, right? Where you can go to any event you want as long as you're willing to pay for it because of the secondary ticket market.
Social media is blowing up with reactions. This isn't just about ticket prices. It's a game-changing moment for women's basketball. The demand we're seeing now was unimaginable just a few years ago. Clark's final home game shattered records with tickets reaching $450. But now that feels like pocket change compared to her retirement ceremony. What's unfolding here is Clark reshaping the entire landscape of women's basketball. She's not just rewriting the record books on the court, she's breaking barriers off it. Clark has become a cultural icon, drawing in fans who might have never tuned into a women's basketball game before.
I'm leading scorer in women's college basketball.
But wait, there's more. This story is far from over. What does Wilson and her team have to say about this, you may ask?
One of the sentiments that was expressed was, oh, it's the same day as A'ja Wilson's, how could you do? First of all, I remember them announcing A'ja Wilson was getting her jersey retired, but I didn't remember the date or anything. When the Clark news broke, I didn't think about A'ja Wilson. And again, as is the case with Caitlin Clark, this only is gonna bring more attention to A'ja Wilson's jersey retirement.
As ticket prices for Clark's ceremony soared, another kind of inflation was taking over: online outrage. A'ja Wilson's fans aren't just upset, they're convinced a conspiracy is at play. But what if the real story is even more explosive than they think? The social media storm ignited with Wilson's supporters crying foul over the timing of Clark's jersey retirement. One fan didn't hold back, tweeting, "Why would y'all retire her jersey on the same day as A'ja Wilson? Are y'all stupid?" This sentiment echoed across social media, with Wilson's fan base feeling like their star was being overshadowed by the Clark phenomenon. But here's where it gets interesting. The timeline of these announcements tells a different story. Iowa didn't just pull Clark's jersey retirement out of thin air. They revealed their plans back on April 11th, 2024, right after the NCAA championship game.
And yes, Clark did get a standing ovation when Iowa's athletics director announced that the university will retire her number 22 jersey.
That number holds a lot of weight, far beyond my name, and I guess I'm just really grateful, and it'll be a special day when that happens for sure. Thank you. It's been very special, and this place will always be home to me.
South Carolina didn't unveil their plans for Wilson's jersey retirement until October 2024. 6 months later, folks. Wilson's fans are saying they're not Clark fans, so why should they care about Iowa stealing the spotlight with their announcement? Why can't both players be honored on the same day?
First of all, there's nothing wrong with two schools retiring respective jerseys on the same day. But secondly, if you wanted the focus to be on A'ja Wilson, she'll probably get more attention as the second, most recognized jersey retirement of that day than she would have if she had the stage all to herself on that.
So why are Wilson's fans so certain that Iowa is trying to steal South Carolina's thunder? It all boils down to the meteoric rise of Clark's popularity. Iowa's athletic director, Beth Gutz, put it bluntly, Clark's accomplishments have made a lasting impact on the university and on women's basketball. They weren't responding to Wilson's announcement. They were celebrating their own superstar. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Why did it take South Carolina so long to honor Wilson? One fan pointed out the obvious. Why did it take a decade for South Carolina to retire Asia's number? How is that Iowa's problem? It's a fair question. Wilson graduated in 2018, yet it's taken until 2025 for her alma mater to retire her jersey. That's not on Iowa, that's on South Carolina.
And South Carolina waited years and years to retire Asia's jersey.
The conspiracy theories are running wild, with some of Wilson's supporters convinced that Iowa deliberately picked this date to overshadow Asia's moment. But let's think this through. Iowa chose a date that aligns with a high-profile game against USC, featuring rising star Juju Watkins, which was already set to be nationally televised. Plus, Clark's jersey has been hanging in Carver Hawkeye Arena for months. Everyone knew it was coming. How could Iowa possibly know when Asia's retirement ceremony was planned? No one even knew about it until Clark made her announcement. This isn't about stealing anyone's spotlight. It's about maximizing exposure for women's basketball as a whole.
And then there was, Iowa is rushing this. They're rushing, or everything is rushed with Caitlin Clark. No, she just did things faster and garnered more attention and more notoriety and celebrity and celebration and popularity.
Here's what's hilarious. Some fans are actually asking for Wilson to move her date. One tweet put it bluntly, "Tell Asia to move her date." Then the face of the WNBA is retiring hers. Show some respect. It's a stark reminder of how quickly the landscape of women's basketball is evolving. So what's really happening here? Is this about disrespect? Or is it simply a changing of the guard in women's basketball? The facts don't back up the conspiracy theories. Iowa's plans were in place long before Wilson's announcement, and they're just capitalizing on Clark's massive popularity. But here's the twist. There might be more to Aga's reaction than just the jersey retirement itself. Is this truly about the ceremony, or could it be a deeper feeling of jealousy? Did you hear the latest uproar in the WNBA? Diana Taurasi, one of the league's all-time greats, is openly furious about being compared to rookie sensation Caitlin Clark. Taurasi believes that as a seasoned veteran, she deserves more respect and recognition, pushing back against claims that Clark is outperforming her. Taurasi, who has consistently been a cornerstone of the Phoenix Mercury, feels that the comparisons are undermining her legacy. "I've dedicated my life to this game," Taurasi stated in a recent interview. "Being compared to a rookie who's just starting her journey isn't fair. I deserve better recognition for my years of hard work and achievements." But let's talk numbers. Caitlin Clark has been nothing short of phenomenal this past season. She's averaged 22 points per game, leading the league in assists with 9.5 per game, and boasts a three-point shooting percentage of 40%. In contrast, Taurasi averaged 18 points, 5 assists, and shooting 35% from beyond the arc. Clark also holds the record for the most assists in a single season, showcasing her playmaking prowess that has transformed the Indiana Fever into one of the top teams in the league. Clark's impact goes beyond just the stats. She's revitalized the Fever, turning a struggling team into playoff contenders with her leadership and dynamic play. While Taurasi has been a consistent performer, Clark's explosive performances have captured the spotlight, leading many to argue that she's the more valuable player this season. Taurasi's frustration is understandable. After over 2 decades in the league, she's amassed 5 WNBA championships, 2 MVP awards, and countless accolades. Yet, in the eyes of some fans and analysts, a rookie is already outshining her. This has sparked a heated debate about the criteria for valuing veteran players versus rising stars. Critics of the comparisons point out that Clark's all-around game and statistical dominance make her a strong MVP contender. However, supporters of Taurasi argue that experience, leadership, and clutch performances in high-stakes games are just as important, if not more so, than raw statistics. The controversy reached its peak when Taurasi confronted the narrative head-on. "Comparing me to Caitlin is like comparing apples to oranges," she said. "Experience and consistency matter. Caitlin is incredible, but she's still learning. I've been here, building this league, and I expect to be treated with the respect that comes with that." Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark continues to excel, proving that her rookie season is one for the history books. Her ability to score, distribute, and make game-winning plays has earned her a legion of fans and a prominent spot in MVP discussions. As the season progresses, the rivalry between Taurasi and Clark highlights the evolving dynamics of the WNBA, where veterans and rookies alike are pushing each other to new heights. The debate isn't just about who has better stats, it's about what makes a player truly valuable. Is it the ability to dominate the scoreboard, the knack for making teammates better, or the experience to lead a team through tough times? Taurasi and Clark represent different facets of greatness, and their comparison raises important questions about how we honor and recognize talent in the league. As the WNBA season heats up, all eyes are on Diana Taurasi and Caitlin Clark. Taurasi's call for better treatment of veterans and Clark's undeniable rise are shaping the conversation around player value and legacy. Whether you side with Taurasi's experience or Clark's impressive stats, one thing is clear: the future of the WNBA is bright, with both legends and rising stars driving the game forward. What do you think? Should veteran experience weigh more heavily in MVP considerations? Or should outstanding rookie performances like Caitlin Clark's take center stage?